Nidus Breachcast, the world's first identity management app made exclusively for identity experts and product owners, is available in the iOS App Store now. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nidus Anarchy series. I'm your host Adam, CIO and co-founder of Nidus, and today I want to talk a little bit about how AI is just moving way too fast. So, it seems like every day there's a new AI announcement that's come out from some company that's doing something amazing. And we got the big guys, right? So we have OpenAI. So with ChatGPT, it's first ChatGPT 3, 3.5, Turbo, 4, 4.0, 4.0 Turbo, then the API side, then Canvas, then O1, O1 Preview, O1 Mini. They're just constantly coming out with stuff. Then you have the Anthropic side, Claude, Haiku, Sonnet 3, 3.5, 3.5 new, 3. Now we have Anthropic's new computer use, which is even crazier, right? And then that's just the LLM world. Then we got the open source world. You have the Meta with all the llamas, Llama 3.2 that's out now with the 405 billion token parameter stuff. I think it's 128,000 token context window. Now if we that's just one little piece. Let's extrapolate a little farther. Now we have image generation. So we have all the things that can make, well, the DALL-E through OpenAI, so they have their own image generation now. Then there's Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. Stable Diffusion just came out with 3.5, like I think yesterday, and it's insane. It looks so real with very minimal prompting. It's terrifying. We had Flux 0.1, Schnell, Dev, and Pro, and now people have gotten Flux 1 Dev. I'm not sure about Pro, but definitely Schnell and Dev to work with LoRa's and ControlNet now. So if you're not familiar with what that means, so LoRa's allow you to basically, instead of fine tuning and training a specific the Flux, if you will, AI model, you can attach these LoRa's where the LoRa's have all the information about a specific thing. So if you're like, hey, I want to make very specific anime type characters, there's LoRa's that have been trained on anime. So you add that LoRa into the model, and it'll do way better at creating anime pictures. And then we got ControlNet. So ControlNet was huge with Stable Diffusion. So ControlNet says, hey, look, here's a picture. I want you to make something that looks just like this, but instead make it all looking like Tron or something. And it makes you look like Tron. So ControlNet controls the output as opposed to just some random thing that gets generated, which makes it way more useful. So now we have that with Flux, which is, and so the biggest thing out there really is Flux 0.1 Dev, because you can run it locally with a LoRa of realism, and the pictures look real. You cannot tell the difference. So pictures, we got tons of crazy AI generation from image, from creative stuff to realistic looking things to UI interface stuff. So the whole image generation, we're very familiar with that. New stuff like that's coming out every day. Then we take that one step further. Then we got video. At first, it was the whole, we talk about all the time, the Will Smith eating spaghetti. I think that's going to go down in history as like the beginning of AI video. And then OpenAI came out with Sora with this crazy realistic stuff. And we're like, oh, this is crazy, but we didn't have access to it. Well, now there's 5 or 6 other major video creators that are out there that are amazing. I mean, just look at the Runway ML. That's the one I use all the time, where you just take a picture and say, hey, turn this into a video, and you give it the prompt, and it will generate the video of whatever it is. There's all kinds of open source video generation now just from text to video. There's text to video, text to images, text to audio, audio to images, audio to video, audio to text. It's insane what's out there. 11 Labs, voice control. There's open source stuff now that's out there now that will copy any voice with very minimal input, and you can have it real-time do anything. Real-time APIs. OpenAI has just released a real-time API for real-time interaction. Groq with a Q. Groq with a Q is a hardware system. They're TPUs that generate like 1,200 tokens per second using open source LLMs. So we have hardware generation. Groq with a K, which is Twitter/X, Elon Musk's XAI system that's coming out. Their system is leaps and bounds forward. Elon Musk just did something insane. He built a massive data warehouse in the East Coast, and he put in 100,000 GPUs from NVIDIA. They installed 100,000 GPUs in 19 days. Empty warehouse, full warehouse, training. Everything is running and humming along in 19 days. Think about the company you work for And what do you think you can accomplish at that company in 19 days? These guys built a data center and are training 100,000 GPUs in 19 days. It's crazy. And it's not even just like, you can't just throw money at it and have that happen. You have to have some crazy smart people that know what they're doing. Anyway, more AI stuff. So we got the audio stuff. We got audio, we got we got pictures, we got images, code generation, complete program generation with making complete projects right from scratch. Not just, oh, look, here's an HTML page. No, entire React Native apps, building the entire folder structure and everything. It's crazy. Now, this is just the generative AI side of the world, right? Now, let's go even to more fun stuff. So now let's bring in some robots. Robots are now coming. So we have Optimus, which was just showed off on Tesla's latest release. I totally want one. I don't care how much that first Optimus robot is. I'm going to buy it. I'm just terrified that it's going to kill my children. But besides that, robots are now going to come, and are going to have AIs built in. And now with AIs, we have different sizes, right? So we have these huge ones. We talk about all these big ones that we're training, these 405 billion tokens, and we think like the open AIs are into the trillions for tokens that's trained in. But the small ones, there's some mixtural ones. Microsoft is the one with the Phi. So there's all these very tiny LLMs that have been released, like 1 billion tokens. And these things can run on like your watch. They could run in a thermostat. They could run in a robot that's self-contained and not talking to the outside world. So now you have AI robots that can comprehend, reason, logically figure things out all locally with no internet access and can roam around the world on their own. Imagine if you had an Optimus robot that had, okay, so assuming money is no object, an Optimus robot could absolutely have the computer guts inside it to power Llama 3.2 90 billion token LLM easily and quickly. And hey, if money's no object, let's throw a TPU in from Groq and get instantaneous responses. Somehow, let's marry that onto a LAN with Anthropic's computer use. And somehow have the computer also control a robot. So now this robot has access to control a computer and access to the internet with its own thinking. And you just give it the directives and maybe it wants to follow it. It's going to be crazy. But the amount of things that are happening so fast in every different direction, you cannot keep up with it. It is impossible. We've reached a pinnacle. And when I say we, I probably mean me, but I've reached a pinnacle where I cannot keep up anymore. There is too much going on in so many different directions. It is impossible to know what's going on and to understand it, which is the whole thing. So it's like every time these new LLMs or a new image modeling system or a new computer system or these new robots or whatever's coming out, you want to understand it because it's like, this is crazy. I want to know how this works. But it's going to take me, let's say, 3 days to really understand, use, play with, and really get a feel for how this new thing as it comes out. But in that 3 days, so many other things have come out that are better and different. And it's like, oh, I want to learn all that stuff too. It's like, there's just so much, you're never going to know it. So AI, we all knew this was going to happen, right? Like AI isn't like a thing. AI is like saying the internet and saying like, oh, or computers. I think AI is bigger than the internet. I think AI is like saying computers, honestly. So when people say like, oh yeah, I know computers or I work with computers, that's like saying, oh yeah, I work with AI now. But there's no way to understand everything about computers and everything that's going on in computers within IT and technology in general. But in an AI standpoint, the difference is it's going horizontal now. It's not just vertical, right? We're not just making LLM smarter. We're not making the image generation better. We're just tacking AI into everything, and and then from there it's extrapolating out. So when the computer came out, well, I wasn't around when the computers came out, but like, my very first computer was a 386. Right? And then my real first computer was a 486SX with 4 megabytes of RAM and a 256 megabyte hard drive SVGA monitor. I spared no expense. Well, my mom didn't spare any expense. And and I had a CD-ROM drive, a 2X CD-ROM drive, by the way. And so that's kind of where I really started when I started like hacking stuff and getting crazy. It was Doom World. The beginning of Doom is really where or Wolfenstein 3D. That was kind of the beginning of my real computer understanding. So from that, as games developed, as monitors got better, as peripherals came out, as computers got better, as the internet came out, as the World Wide Web became a thing, email, text messages, phones, like all this technology came about, it was so slow compared to how AI is developing right now that you could learn and understand these things. You had time. Like when a new CPU would come out, it would be a year or 2 years later, and it's like, oh, it's just faster. There really weren't that many different revelations. It was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. That was maybe once a year, maybe a couple times a year, some new things. So you have plenty of time to really learn it, understand it, develop on it, play with it, tweak it, hack it, mess with it, see what other kind of weird things you can do. Not anymore. This AI stuff is so fast, we can't keep up with it. And I've never had this feeling before, so I'm not sure if I'm excited or terrified because it's so cool from a techie standpoint, because it's like, oh, look at this cool new toy and I want to play with it, but then it's like, oh, but there's all those cool new toys, I want to play with those too, but I only have so much time in the day. And it's awesome, but same from the terrifying standpoint, it's like, because everything is growing so fast and because no one person can really have a true understanding of it all and what's really happening, even in one lane. Even if all you're focusing on is just LLMs, there's so much that you can't understand at all. So because everything's growing so fast and extrapolating so fast and going horizontal and vertical, it's just going in every freaking direction. It's like a supernova. The AI supernova has occurred. This gas planet has just exploded, and it is taking over planets as it is expanding. And I feel it is at Venus right now. So with all this happening, because we don't have a solid understanding of it all and its capabilities, and we're just running as fast as we can just to see if we can do it. It's that whole Jurassic Park quandrum. We were so interested to see if we could do it, we never stopped to think if we should. And that's where we're going right now, is we're just developing crap like crazy, and it's awesome. It's so much fun because it's all a bunch of techie people. It's all a bunch of people that be like, I bet I can make that better. And then they do it. You get one person and they figure it out because AI helps you, right? You don't have to understand it all anymore to be able to develop on it because you have AI. And you have all these LLMs that can help you build these new technologies and understand it all, to where you don't have to actually understand all the underlying tech to build it all out. It's like, imagine if one day we're all writing in assembly, and then a week later C comes out, and then a week later you got like Pascal, and then a week later you got JavaScript and HTML, and then a week later you got Python, and then a week later after that you got, that's kind of what we're doing, right? It's like there's so many tools that are coming out, but these ones can actually start to do things. Like when we were talking about the computer use, these LLMs can now take over a computer. Like if you give it control, you have to actually do it, right? Well, for now. And then they can do anything. They can literally do anything that you can do at a computer. Probably better, just not as fast right now. I didn't even say that. It's slow when you see its results, but from hey, make this thing happen, it's going to do it faster than you can. You're obsolete. You are 100% obsolete right now. And I don't know what to do about that. So it's kind of one of those things where you kind of got to pick a lane. Like, what thing do you want to focus on? Because there's so many distractions and all these other things that are going on that you're just going to overwhelm yourself. And that's where I feel like I am right now, is there's just so much going on. And this is another thing too, right? So when working with clients in the identity space, it's all enterprise. And how fast does enterprise move? Super slow, almost stagnant. That's how fast enterprises move for adoption and understanding of technology. So when working with AI every day, off hours to do developmental tasks, research tasks, building new things, coming up with new ideas, and seeing what's capable and possible, and just this ever expanding growth of knowledge and fun things to do and just craziness that you can develop. And then you come into the company world and they're like, yeah, we don't even want to know what's going on over there. Let's just not even talk about that. Yeah, AI, yep, cool, okay. Anyway, we're just going to write everything in Java with a team of 30 developers. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Like, you got to take the blinders off. It's over. And I feel like when working in the enterprise now, it's so slow, it's painful. Like when you get assigned a task, like, hey, we need you to develop out this thing, or patch these servers, or do this thing, or make this code to do whatever. And you're like, okay, can I use an LM? No. Okay, well, can I use, no. Just, you have Notepad. Go. It's like, okay, Notepad and shell access, have fun. It's so archaic now that the second a company adopts AI, they will immediately dominate that industry. And that's what no one's getting. All these big companies that are just shying away and keeping those blinders on and got that feedback of, let's not go there. But They are going to be overtaking so fast. You remember when there were the large brick and mortar companies? This is back, let's say, the 80s, 90s. All these brick and mortar companies, and they were dominating. Right there, they were making all the money. They had all the market share, and then all of a sudden, around 2000, there's a little startup, a couple guys in a garage that just came up with some weird internet thing, and then all of a sudden, the entire insurance agency got flipped over on its head. And then all of a sudden, the entire banking industry got flipped on its head. And then all of a sudden, the entire whatever industry got flipped on its head and taken over. And all these guys became obsolete overnight. This is happening now. So if you are in charge of one of these large enterprise companies and you're just saying, we're not touching AI because I just don't understand it, or I'm old and it bothers me because I don't like new things, your company is going to become so obsolete so fast, you're not even going to know that it's happened when it's happened. The best example I can give you, and this isn't even from a speed perspective, it's not even close, is mainstream media, TV, radio, newspapers, right? Who cares about any of that right now? Nobody. And I think we've all kind of come to the agreement we can stop calling it mainstream media. Now it's legacy media, right? No one's watching TV unless you're 70 years old, staring in front of like the thing that was put on for you. And no one's listening to the radio. No one's reading a newspaper, except right now it's a tabloid if you are, just to catch get you riled up about something. So those industries were completely wiped out by streaming movies, streaming TV, movie theaters, gone, right? Over. Like all these industries that everyone said would be around forever, dominate and control an entire industry of serious important stuff like media, dead. Podcasts, killed all the radio, killed all the TV. Like, there's no need for all this legacy stuff anymore. It's like, who listens to the radio? Everyone has Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, right? Like, there's the futuristic, which is the now time, by the way, we live in the future now, has taken over all that and just killed it. And there's no recovery from that. They got Netflixed out. Like, to Blockbuster, over. This is what's happening. Now, AI is going to do that to your company way faster than how legacy media got just completely obsolete. This is going to happen within a matter of 3 years, and I'm saying that nicely. Realistically, it's going to be less than 2. I could honestly see certain industries be completely disrupted, flipped over on their ass in a year. And I'm not exaggerating. And if you are in this world of AI and you're paying attention to what's actually going on, you see it clear as day too. So it's crazy because like in the world of identity and access management, which is what we work with identities and all this stuff. This is all great. Decentralized authentication is going to kill this whole industry once they figure out how to do it and that they're supposed to be doing it like they're doing it in Europe, but let's not go down that path. But working in the identity and access management, all we do is work with these large legacy enterprise companies. I'm going to continue calling them legacy because that's what they are. They just haven't figured it out yet. So what's this new industry that's coming out? We don't know yet because it hasn't been developed, but it's going to be developed so fast that we got to start paying attention to it. Because if you want your large enterprise company to be around and be halfway useful within 5 years, you better start doing something now. Because you're going to be, I don't care how big you think you are, I don't care how much market you think you have, I don't care how much money you think you have. Your company's dead. You are going to be a dinosaur, extinct, buried in a tar pit, become a fossil in a matter of months. Right? Like we say, people like, oh, they're 32 months old. Months. You will be dead. Because AI will be way better than you could ever be in your legacy. Oh, let's have a meeting and talk about this for the next 3 days. Nope. Are you kidding me? Look what, just in the LLM world, look what's come out in 3 days. This is insane. AI is just gone so far, so fast. And like everyone keeps saying, this is the mantra, right? Like this is just the beginning. This is as bad as it's going to be. And we're just going to reiterate that because this isn't even hockey stick. This is a SpaceX Raptor fused rocket that's shooting straight up faster than anything that's ever been created. And all of us are just sitting in the back being like, oh, I don't know. Let's just see what it does. It's crazy, man. So I don't know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I have such mixed emotions just because I've never seen I've never seen industries be flipped on their head and new industries created and this whole disruption thing so fast, so easily by literally having to do nothing. Like I can make an app in AI right now that can replace entire SaaS apps in hours, not months, not years, hours, and not even like trying. It's insane. So tell me what your thoughts are. How are you dealing with this? How are you not mentally exploding every day, every time you see these headlines coming out and you're seeing all these new companies and these new startups coming out with amazing AI tech? How are you still thinking that some enterprise is going to be even around in 5 years? So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys around. Later. Nidus has just created the first iOS app made exclusively for identity management professionals. It's called Nidus Breachcast, and you can download it now. It's amazing. We have real-time updates of all the latest breaches that are occurring, CVEs as they come out real-time, really pertaining just to identity management. We have media that's going on in this podcast. We're going to be bringing in a lot more others as well. And we even have a complete vendor list of all the identity management vendors and all their products, so you can find out exactly where to download their software, all the documentation. And what's even more awesome is an identity management glossary. All those crazy words and acronyms that we can never remember, they're all listed in there for you. No ads, just pure information to make your life simple.